Okay, guys, so yesterday, George Floyd Day, the day George Floyd, the anniversary of the day George Floyd had the knee to the neck incident. And the entire mainstream media was there on the scene to commemorate the events of this great man that NBA players view as their hero and just an icon, a man who changed the world. And we're going to get into that. Kyrie Irving and Lebron James, just to name a few, that were very disturbing. But one thing they didn't talk about was this incident. And not only did the NBA players not talk about this in their reflections on George Floyd's memorial at George Floyd Square in Minneapolis, they didn't talk about, 3 kids have been shot in the head in the last 3 weeks. They didn't touch that. They didn't touch the fact that there was a mass shooting. A mass shooting in Minneapolis over the weekend where 10 people were shot. They didn't talk about the fact that local leaders and local crime-fighting activists are throwing their hands up. They can't figure out how to stop the violence. They can't figure out how to stop the violence. The violence in Minneapolis is so out of control that they can't figure out how to stop it. None of these NBA players are talking about this. About the fact that Minneapolis, the new home of George Floyd, and we ain't going to talk about the old home, Houston, because I've done several videos on that. That place is just turned into a hellhole. But George Floyd's new home, of Minneapolis, Minnesota, is a virtual war zone. And it was apropos when, as the mainstream media attempted to cover this just bizarre, just really bizarre, like celebration, commemoration of a man who was killed by the police, that this happened.
This bill of comprehensive police reform to be... just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us. It sounds like gunshots. I'll let you know what this is.
And you want to talk about white privilege? You want to talk about white privilege? Look at these white people. They're just standing upright and erect. Arms folded, riding bikes as rounds go off. While the sister is doing the basically Vietnam style. She look like she in Nam, crawling across the ground when she heard them gunshots. And of course it was some brothers shooting at some other brothers over a parking space dispute. And look, I'll give you credit, man. Those things can get kind of crazy, parking space disputes, but the most you do is roll your eyes or give somebody a dirty look. These brothers were chasing each other down the street at George Floyd Square, firing over 30 rounds while all these cameras are set up all over the place. Like you would have to be literally, there's no way you couldn't have seen all the stations, all their vans, all their personnel, just the entire mainstream media right here, and literally right at that store that's right behind this guy with his arms folded, this white guy, because this stuff doesn't happen in his neighborhood. He's not used to that. The sister, this happens all the time. She got on the ground and started crawling. But right there behind there, the guy's going to come past with a gun and chasing some other guys down the street while firing at them. And none of the NBA players talked about this in their remarks about George Floyd Day.
This bill of comprehensive police reform just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us. It sounds like gunshots. I'll let you know what this is. These seem to be gunshots.
Get down!
Shit, where is that?
We're okay.
We're just gonna go.
Let's go. Down.
And if you ask Kyrie, this headline is racist. Hell of a tribute. On the anniversary of George Floyd's murder, someone is shot at his memorial. Black person got shot by another black person in broad daylight, like chased down the street, chased down like a dog in front of all these news vans. I mean, every station was there, local and national. They had the perimeter. All throughout the perimeter is nothing but news vans. It's satellites, trucks with satellites on it, and all types of people milling around with cameras. Personnel, the whole apparatus. And the brother still got chased down like a dog and shot.
I know when you were in Boston, you always had such good things to say about the crowds there and the feeling of playing at the Garden. What do you expect now that there's going to actually be people there in the building as opposed to last time?
I mean, it's not my first time being an opponent in Boston. So, I'm just looking forward to competing with my teammates, and hopefully we can just keep it strictly basketball. There's no belligerence or any racism going on, subtle racism and people yelling shit from the crowd. But even if it is, it's part of the nature of the game, and we're just gonna focus on what we can control.
Is it something you've experienced in Boston before?
I'm not the only one that could attest to this, but it's just it won't. It is what it is.
This dude is a human shit stain, man. He's from New Jersey. He's whining about white people in Boston who are going to boo him because he came there and was basically a cancer the entire time he was there, left, and now he's returning as part of a super team. Of course you're going to get booed. Why would you even say something about some damn racism? He's always checking white people. He spends 99% of his time. If you want to take what he does, the constant race narrative that he talks about, if you want to take that as a positive, okay, he means well by this. At the very least, let's just say he means well. He spends 99% of his time devising ways to make white people better people. Because that's what he's going to say. Basically, white people are bad people. They're racist. And they need to do this and they need to do that and they need to do this to be better people. This guy's from New Jersey. New Jersey. Where just this weekend, there was an incident where some gang members parked their car near a graduation party, an outdoor graduation party. They snuck around through the woods, came behind where the party was, emerged from the woods with automatic rifles and sprayed the crowd and killed 3 black people, 2 black women and 1 black man, and shot another 11. So all total 14 people in New Jersey, this man's home state. And he's trying to talk about racism in Boston.
There are new developments in the Fairfield Township mass shooting in New Jersey that happened this past weekend. That includes new details on the latest victim. 19-year-old Braylon Holmes of Millville City had just returned home for the summer from college in Virginia. She was studying to be a social worker. Holmes was pronounced clinically dead at the scene, but she's being kept on life support so her organs can be harvested for donation.
This young girl has more in common with Kyrie Irving than fucking George Floyd. Okay? She was home from college. Kyrie, you went to college for 1 year. To just go to a party with a bunch of people who had graduated, and some gang members snuck through the woods, and just, could you imagine the terror? You're out there partying, drinking, socializing with a bunch of, students. And all of a sudden, some men emerge from the woods, spraying the crowd with an AR-15s and automatic weapons. Can you imagine the terror this young lady had? And Kyrie won't mention her or the other people who died or other people that are still in the hospital fighting for their lives. But he's worried about white people in Boston being better people.
6ABC spoke with someone who was at the shooting on Saturday, an event that started off with high spirits and good vibes as a birthday celebration. The woman asked for her identity to be shielded out of fear for her safety. 6ABC spoke with someone who was at the shooting on Saturday, an event that started off with high spirits and good vibes as a birthday celebration. The woman asked for her identity to be shielded out of fear for her safety.
I feel like the bullet could have hit me. That's how close she was when she fell in front of me.
In total, 14 people were shot. Police have identified 2 of the deceased as 25-year-old Asia Hester and 30-year-old Kevin Elliott, both of Bridgeton. As far as suspects go, police have arrested 2 men, though neither are charged with the murders, and police have not yet released a motive for what sparked the shooting.
On to the New Jersey Gun Memorial. New Jersey, the state, is 13% black. Same as the United States. The state of New Jersey is 13% black. Kyrie's home state, 13% black. So let's see if there's anything he could be doing in New Jersey besides trying to make white people better people everywhere he goes. Let's see who's getting killed in the state of New Jersey. These are the fatal shootings. And remember, any black people you see on here were killed by other black people. And many of the white people, if you see any, would have been killed by black people too. But let's see. 13% of the population. Hit one if you think that black people will make up 13% of the fatal gunshot victims. This is the state Kyrie's from. This is where he's from. This is what the gunshot victims look of all races, where Kyrie Irving is from. You would never know this if you listen to him talk. You would think that, and all these people killed by other black people, you would think that white people were just going around killing each other, killing black people, and it was just because the way he acts is like white people are just these violent, dangerous people that just you can't trust, and everything comes out of his mouth is about how white people are just savage beasts and they're out to get us. Now, who shot this woman? God, this senior woman shot dead on her birthday. God, dog. Does this look like a place that's 13% black? This looks like a place that's 97% black. You remember this guy, Triple Beans. You remember where he died. The horrific nature of his death that was caught on camera. Whew. This is Kyrie's home state, where his people make up 13% of the population. God damn, they be shooting old ladies. God, dog. Everybody get hit though. When you see 14 people got hit at that party, because these guys, most brothers just shoot. They just when they shoot in the crowds, they shoot haphazardly. Their bullets fly everywhere. All right, man, you get the point. I feel the same way, LeBron. After I heard what you just said, I felt the same way. I was like, what? So now let's see what LeBron James. What LeBron James had to say about George Floyd, and this whole situation, and the state of America, and the biggest issues facing the black community.
The man literally changed the world, and
what you say, nigga? Did you say this George Floyd literally changed the world? Well, how about you start trying to change the world? And let's start in your home state of Ohio. All right, guys, this is LeBron James' home state of Ohio. Another guy, LeBron James, who goes around, and we're trying to look at this thing, say that these guys have good intentions. LeBron James spends most of his time what some would call race baiting, but since we're looking at it through good intentions, he spends most of his time trying to make white people better people. His state, Ohio, the state where LeBron James is from, is 12.2% black. A little less black than New Jersey, but not much. Pretty much the same thing. New Jersey, Kyrie's home is 13% black. LeBron James' home state is 12.2% black. Let's see who's dying in good old Ohio. And of course I covered this. This girl was killed at a party where 14 people were shot. No, 5 people were shot and were shot, and she was killed at that party just the other day over the weekend. Look at these faces, man. And you would think that if LeBron James would have talked about this one time, he hasn't mentioned this in his 17-year career. Just think about that. He hasn't mentioned this one time. You have to understand that. It's not like he talked more about racism than this. He hasn't mentioned this. There goes the girl Micaiah that was shot while trying to stab another black girl. And a hero cop came and saved that black girl's life by shooting Micaiah. Does this state look like it's 12.2% black? If you're just looking at the fatal gunshot victims. And all of these people were killed by black people. And the few white ones you see on here, many of them were killed by black people too. Just think about that. He hasn't spoken about this one time in 17 years. Now I think it's 18 years in the NBA. Yeah, he spends all of his time going around talking about white people and how racist white people are. And talking about a guy, a crackhead who died, who got killed by a police officer in Minneapolis.